Welcome everybody. My name is Jordan Burdick. I am a yoga therapist in Vancouver, BC. We'll be going through an hour Hatha yoga class today. Some of the props that you may need be a chip foam block for under the knees if you have any sensitivity in your knees, possibly a strap and 2 blocks. Of course, if you don't have these, you can use something else. Sturdy books or soup cans work for blocks. A pillow or a folded up towel works for a chip foam block. And then if you have any kind of robe, strap, or belt of any sorts that you can comfortably step under your foot and hold without rounding your back in the standing position is a good substitute. And if you don't have any of those, don't worry about it. We can work around that as well. So just come into a good seat. If your knees are really tight up towards your rib cage, you can come up onto a chip foam block or a bolster or a rolled up blanket or something, just to allow for your knees to come closer to under your hips. And just take a second to grab onto the inseam of your pants, so grab onto your thighs, and just take the inseam and push it down, and take the outseam and pull it up and out. So we're just opening up the sit bones, allowing for a nice little curve in our lower spine. And just allow for your eyes to either soften or close completely, whatever you prefer. We'll just drop into our breath. Welcoming ourselves onto the mat and taking a moment to ground here before we move into some gentle movement. As you inhale through the nose, we're filling the ribs and lengthening the spine up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, softening the shoulders down your back, releasing any tension in your face. Throughout our practice today, we'll work with a lengthened exhale. This lengthened exhale in our practice allows for our relaxation response to come into our nervous system. So the parasympathetic nervous system allows a softening. So say if you inhale for the count of 4, you're exhaling for the count of 5, 6, 7. Just a tad bit longer, even if it's just a second, can help with a softening in the body and the nervous system. And of course, if this breath practice doesn't work for you, or there's something else that you'd like to do throughout this hour together, you're more than welcome to make this practice your own. That goes for with any of the movements as well. If there's something that doesn't feel good for you in your body, you can adjust, or you can just come into child's pose or a compassionate gesture, hands on the heart, give yourself a little hug, or one hand on the heart, one hand on the stomach, and just breathe. Just know that if something's not feeling good for you in your body, that you do not have to do it. If you need to adjust or move into a different posture in your practice, please feel free to do so, as it is your practice, and it's your time on the mat here for yourself and your self-care. So with this lengthened exhale, or any breath that you've chosen, we'll drop into the physical body and just take a scan of your feet on the ground, the points of contact you have with the earth. If there's any small adjustments that you'd like to do in your body to make yourself feel a little bit more comfortable in this seated position, you can just do that. Maybe that's widening your seat a little bit more, or moving your hands to a different place, adjusting your shoulders, whatever it may be. Just taking a few rounds of breath to really just be open to the conversation that your physical body would like to have with you at the moment. Without any judgment of the self, just love and compassion, a few breaths of listening. Take a nice deep full breath in. Exhale out the mouth, releasing any sounds or sighs that you'd like to make. We'll return back to the breath. This time we'll scan our energy body. Just taking a moment and a few rounds of breaths to be honest with yourself how you're feeling right now with your energy. Again, without any judgment, just an open heart, a few rounds of breath to really just listen. And take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth, down through the body, into the earth. And we'll open up some breath space to our emotions. And just take a moment to be present with how you're feeling in your emotion body right now. Allowing anything to come up to be recognized and noticed, and then returning back to the breath. And take one more nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale down through the body, out the mouth. And with those little nuggets of information that we have gathered in our own practice, we'll just take a note and keep them in the mind, and we'll do another check-in at the end of class after we flow through some movement and some silence, and we'll check in again to see where we're at. So just doing some Sophie grinds here, allowing for the torso to come over to the right, inhaling up through center, chest forward, and then over to the left with the body, and then back around the back half. Again, you can connect your breath here with this movement. The inhale for the first half of the circle, and the exhale for the back half of the circle. Feeling into the points of contact you have with the body, with the floor after you are moving from side to side. If there's an area that feels a little bit sticky, you can pause there and send some breath, some love, some kindness. And again, making it your own practice, listening to your body and doing the movements that feel good for you. And we'll switch directions, coming over to the other side at your own time when you're ready. And coming back through center, we'll just bring the hands down to the mat in front of us and walk them as far away from your feet as feels comfortable for you. And then just allow for the head to bow down, the heart and forehead to soften towards the earth. Maybe you want to keep your hands extended out, or maybe you want to bring your forearms and elbows down to the mat. It's up to you what you would like to do here. Three nice full breaths, breathing into the back body, into the back of the heart, into the rib cage. Exhaling, maybe sighing out your mouth and softening towards the earth. And when you're ready, pushing your hands back up towards the body. We'll switch the feet, so bring the opposite foot forward in your crossed leg, and then we'll take our hands out to either side. Inhale the hands up overhead, placing the palms together, and exhale down to your heart center. Do that 2 more times on your own breath. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Bring the hands to heart center. Take a second to pause. And bring your hands back down to the lap. We'll take the left hand out to the left side of the your body, keeping the torso nice and straight, the spine towards the sky. We'll just walk that hand out away from your sit bones, away from your hips, as far as feels comfortable for you, and then just drop the right ear over to the right shoulder. If you get any pinching or tingling sensation in the arm that doesn't feel good, just come closer to the body with the fingertips. Just come to an area that feels comfortable for you and just breathe. One more nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Good. Walk that hand back towards center. And we'll switch sides. So bring the right hand out. Walking the fingers away from the body, from your sit bones. And then take the left ear to the left shoulder. And breathe. And one more nice deep breath into the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Bring that hand back to center, bringing the spine straight, and then just again walking the hands forwards away from your body. Again, you can keep your hands straight, elbows straight, or you can bend them and bring your forearms down to the earth. Whichever you prefer, you can do a mix of both if that feels good for you. Just noticing any differences between the left and the right side now that we've brought our opposite foot forward. Three more nice deep breaths, breathing into the back of the body, the back of the heart. Exhaling fully, allowing any sound to be released as needed. One more nice deep full breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, pushing back to seated. And we'll swing the feet out to one side, coming into hands and knees. Hands underneath the shoulders and knees under the hips, keeping the toes tucked. We'll spread the fingers nice and wide. We'll come into our first down dog of the day. So lifting the knees and just allow them to hover. We'll take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, take your heart down towards your thighs, keeping the knees nice and bent. See if you can do that internal rotation of the thighs, the same thing that we did in our good seat where we took the inseams down and the out seams of our pants out up towards the sky and widening the sit bones. Once you get here, take a nice deep breath as you push your hips away from the rib cage, or the bottom of the rib cage, and then you can slowly start to paddle out your dog, shifting your weight from left to right. If you need to move your feet a little bit back or your hands a little bit forward, do what you need to do to feel comfortable in your down dog today. And we'll just work to stillness, working our heels towards the earth and the knees towards straight. Just coming to a comfortable position for you. Maybe that's with the knees still bent and the heels still lifted. Just listen to your own body here. And take a few nice deep breaths in through the nose. And as you exhale, maybe you soften your heart and your ribs, the front of your ribs towards your thighs. We'll do 3 flow crunches. So as we inhale, we'll bring our heart in between our hands into plank.
And then we'll exhale, come back to down dog. Inhale, lift the right foot up towards the ceiling. Exhale, come back in through that plank pose, and then bring your knee to the outside of the right elbow. And then inhale, come back up, kick that foot forwards. Exhale, crunch back in, bring the knee to the opposite elbow over to the left, across the body. Inhale, back up to center. And exhale, bring the knee through to the chest, and we're going to step it through to the front of the mat, or scooch it through, or pull it through, however you got to get your foot there. And then keeping your knee stacked over top of that front ankle, we'll lower the back knee down. So if you have a chip foam block, or you have something, a pillow or something to put under your knee, you can do that now. If you don't, you can fold your mat in half and allow for your knee to come down onto that extra padding if you need to do it that way. There's also this little pouch of extra skin and flesh on the top of your patella. So if you can lift the knee and move it back a little bit, you can hook that little piece of flesh and then slide the knee forward, and that should give you a little bit of padding if you have nothing underneath you and you need a bit of support. From here, pull your thighs towards each other, so squaring the hips. Take a second, and when you feel ready, you can come up to bring your your ribs up straight, spine towards the sky. You can bring your hands to heart center, above your head, or you can keep them down on your knee, whichever you prefer in your practice today. As you take a nice deep inhale, exhale, go, and this will cinch your ribs together, zipping up your ribs here. Keeping so that we're not dumping into our ribs, we're holding them nice and tight together, holding our core. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can lower the hands down to the mat. We'll take both hands to the inside of the front foot, and then just scooch that foot out towards the side of the mat. Here you may want to use your blocks, or you can just stay up in a position that feels good for you. So keeping that right foot on the right side of your mat, just allow for a second to see that your back foot is straight out. So we're not coming out to the left or the right side, it's hugged straight down directly through the midline. And from here, you can either lower down just by bending your knees, or you can come up onto a block with your forearms, or you can come all the way down to the mat with your forearms, wherever you are at in your practice today. Just breathing here, seeing if you can access that lengthened exhale one more time. We'll be here for about 3 more nice full breaths. And when you're ready, bring your hands back down to the mat, working them towards straight. And we'll just scooch that toe heel back into the center of our hands, back to the center of the mat. And we'll come into half Hanuman. So if you do have the blocks and you'd like to use them, we'll just grab them in both hands. And then as you straighten the front leg, we'll bend into the back leg and bring the sit bones towards the heel. And the front foot just lifting the toes and flexing them back towards the shin. If you don't have blocks here and you find that you're super rounded, it's okay in the moment, but the blocks help us to straighten the spine so that the stretch goes more into the back of the lower half of our body instead of into our spine. So just breathing here, wherever you're at. Maybe you're on the tallest block setting or you have no blocks at all. Up to you in your practice. And from here, just take a second to play with your toes, and you can point them forwards and pull them back up, and just noticing the different sensations in the body when you do this. You can gas pedal with the big toe, so putting the big toe mound down first,
back up to center. And you can do the pinky toe mound, and back up to center. And one more time, we'll put the toes all the way down. You'll feel a nice stretch in the front of the leg, front of the ankle, and bring it back up. And from here, hugging your femur bone into the hip socket. So just slide your right hip back towards the back wall, and you'll feel a little bit more of a sensation in your body. Maybe you feel it in your hamstrings or at the back of your butt. Or maybe you feel it somewhere else, and that's okay too. Take one more nice deep breath into the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Place the toes back down onto the mat. If you have the blocks, you can just walk them back up, bending into that front knee. Set the blocks to the side. Bring your hands down to the mat. Lift the back knee, and we'll just hop it a half step forward. So if you have the block in the way, you might just need to kick it. So now we are going to bring our hands to the left and right side of the top of the mat. And when you're ready, pushing down through the front heel and kicking the back heel up towards the sky. Breathing here, keeping the back toes flexed, so hugging them towards the shin and pushing down through the right heel into the earth. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower that foot down to the mat, coming into forward fold. You can bend into the knees here and shift your weight from the heels to the toes and just rock, finding a place of center for you. Coming back to that lengthened exhale if that felt good in your body. And when you're ready, slowly coming up vertebrae by vertebrae, allowing the head to come up last. Once you get to the top, you can make some circles with your shoulders backwards, circles frontwards. And we'll come into tree pose, so shifting the weight over to the right foot, taking the left knee out, so bringing the left knee out towards the left side. You can either come to bring your heel onto your ankle, the inside or the bottom of your foot to the inside of your calf, or you can bring your foot all the way up to the inside of your thigh, just keeping it off of the knee. You can bring your hands to heart center, or you can bring them straight up overhead, taking your gaze towards the ceiling. And checking that your hip is hugged into the midline. We're not dumping into the pressure of our foot. Breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bringing the hands down. See if you can keep the knee lifted and just unhook the foot. Bring it into the center line and squeeze your knee up towards your chest. Taking some circular motions with your ankle. And going the other way. And keeping that foot lifted and just seeing if you can step it back to the back of the mat. So swinging your knee down and take a step back. We'll come into warrior 2. So bringing that back foot on a 90-degree angle. Checking to see that your heel is either in line with your back heel, with the back arch of your foot. You want to check that your knee is over top of the front ankle and that you can still see your big toe and that your knee is not hugging into the midline. So we're keeping the knee nice and open. Hands come out to the front and back of the room, and our gaze looks over the front middle finger. And breathe. Maybe you can drop into that lengthened exhale here. Two more nice full breaths. And then bringing your forearm down to your knee,
We'll swing that back hand down towards the mat and then up straight over the crown of our head. So pinkies down towards the earth, thumbs up towards the ceiling, and breathing into this nice long line from the back toe edge all the way up through your fingertips. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower your hands down to the mat. Untuck that back foot, so bring it back so the toes are straight. And we'll just step back to down dog. Taking a second to paddle out the legs and just notice the different sensations between the right and the left side body. So we're going to come into the plank pose. We inhale. Exhale back to down dog. Shifting the weight to the right foot. Bring the left foot into the sky, towards the sky. Take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, we're going to bring the left knee to the outside of the left elbow. Back up towards the ceiling. Down towards the chest, and over to the other elbow, right elbow, and back up to the ceiling. And then we'll hug it towards the chest and step it through to the front of the mat. Again, scooching your foot as you need to get that front knee over top of that front ankle. And then if you need your chip foam block or other padding for your knee, you can lower that under your knee, placing your knee onto the back of the mat. Once you feel ready, once you feel comfortable, hug your thighs towards each other, and then you can come up to that low lunge. So the torso is coming up to the ceiling. Hands can either be on the elbow or on the knee, at heart center, or up overhead, whichever you prefer. Take a nice deep breath. As you exhale, hug the ribs together. And breathe. Here for about 3 more breaths. And as you exhale, lower the hands down. We'll bring the left hand to the inside of that left foot, and then scooch your left foot out to the outside edge of the left of the mat. And again here, maybe you want to stay just like this, and this feels like a good enough stretch for you with your arms straight. Maybe you just want to take a little bit of a bend into your elbow just to get yourself a little bit closer to the earth. Or maybe you'd like to grab your block or come all the way down to your forearms on the mat or the block, whichever feels good for your body. Dropping into that lengthened exhale if you'd like to use that in your practice. Be here for about 3 more breaths. More nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Finding your hands back onto the mat, straightening them up and scooch that toe back into center. If you used your blocks last time for the Hanuman, half Hanuman, please do so as well on this side, and just slowly walk your hands back, bringing those front toes all the way up to the shin, and just bringing your sit bone back towards the back heel, and just bending into that back knee. Just breathing here. You can play with the toe point, so pointing the toes down to the mat. Back up through center.
You do the big toe mound first, and back up to center, and dropping the little toe mound first, and back to center, and then drop the toes again, and back up to center. And if you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can just slide that left hip back, and breathe. One more nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Walk the blocks forward, bend into the front knee, toes come down to the earth, blocks come over to one side. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and hop that back foot in just about a half a step. So it's a little bit easier for you to bring your hands up to the left and right corner of the mat. When you feel ready, you can bend into the front knee just a little bit, and then push up, kicking that back foot forward or up towards the sky, and pushing down through that front heel. Breathing here for 5, 4, 3, lift that back foot just a little bit higher, 2, and 1. Bend that knee and set your foot down, forward fold. We'll bend into the right knee and walk our hands over to the right side of the mat. And switch through, bending into the left knee, straightening the right, and walk the hands over to the left side. Do that one more time on each side, walking the hands over to the right, bending the right knee. And over to the left. And bending into the left knee, straightening the right leg. We'll come back through center. Hands come onto the shin, lifting the crown of the head, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Be a nice straight spine. We'll come up, bringing the hands out to either side and lift them up overhead. Placing the hands together and down through heart center. We'll come into tree on the other side, so shifting the weight to the, I believe it's the left foot this time. Taking the right knee out to the right side and placing the heel onto the ankle. That's first variation. Second variation is bringing your foot up to the inside of the calf, and then the inside of the thigh is third variation. So we're just coming into an area that feels good for you, comfortable for you. Bring the hands either to heart center, or you can bring them up overhead, whichever you prefer. Making sure to hug the hips to the midline. We'll breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your hands down to heart center. We'll just lift the leg, keeping the foot lifted. Bring it back to midline, so the knee's in front of the body, and just grab the knee with your hands and make some circular motions with your ankle here. And the other way. And without dropping your foot, send the knee and heel back, taking a big step back, coming into warrior 2. So taking that back foot on the 90-degree angle once you get there. Again, checking to see that your front heel is in alignment with your back heel or the back arch of your foot. We're looking to make sure that we can still see our big toe and our knee's not coming into the midline, that it's out, so that we can still have a view of that toe. And take your arms forwards and backwards and take a gaze over your front middle finger. We'll breathe here. Coming back to that length and exhale if that feels good for you. Be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower your front forearm down to your
knee or your thigh, and then just take your back hand aligned down with your mat, swing it up overhead and bring it into alignment with the top, your ear, so that we're reaching over the crown of our head. Our fingertips are straight over our top of our skull, and the pinky of our hand is towards the earth, thumbs up towards the ceiling. And breathe. Be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Swing that hand down. We'll bring the hands down to the earth. Take the front foot and align it with the back foot. So we're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Toes are towards your hands. Just breathe in here. You can allow for your sit bones to widen and your heart and head to come towards the earth. Softening any tension in the jaw and the face. And come back up, pushing the hands onto the earth so that the spine is straight. Keep the left hand on the ground and inhale the right hand up like a bow and arrow, reaching it to the sky above you. And 2 more nice full breaths. Exhale, release that hand down. We'll switch sides, placing the right hand down onto the earth. Inhale the left hand up towards the ceiling. Here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower that hand back down to the earth. And we'll just scooch the feet together, so heel toeing them towards one another, coming up to standing. We'll keep the feet wide, so maybe the same distance as your yoga mat, away from one another, and the toes at a 45-degree angle, so just if there was laser beams shooting out of your hips, they would be following suit with your toes. We'll inhale the hands down by the side, up, palms towards the sky, hands come together, palms to touch, and as you exhale, we'll bend into the knees, send the hips back, bending the elbows, and coming down to a squat, bringing the elbows to the inside of the knees, hands push towards one another so that everything is using a little bit of force to access the stretch a little bit more. If your heels are way off the ground, you can put a rolled up towel or something underneath them if that feels more comfortable for you. Or you can take your blocks and you can put them under your sit bones and come to seated on your blocks if that feels better for you and your body in this practice. If you'd like to be a little bit more gentle, you can do that as well. We'll drop in here into our breath. You can take your soft gaze at the ground, or you can close your eyes completely. Lengthening your exhale. Just imagining a line from the tip of your tailbone going into the earth. With each breath, we are pulling from that light of the earth into the tailbone, up through the spine, straight all the way past the belly button, the heart, back of the throat, up through the crown of the head and into the universe.
breathing with this connection. Softening into your foundation, the structure and strength you have in this posture in your body. Take a second to thank yourself for showing up for this practice today, for dedicating some time for yourself, your self-care, your mental health, your physical health. Dropping into your own wisdom. And take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale fully down through the body, into the earth. Oh, you can bring your sit bones down to the earth and just swing your feet out to one side. We'll keep the legs wide and we'll straighten them out to either side. So coming into a seated wide-legged fold. So bringing the toes towards the body. So we're just flexing the toes. And I welcome you to bring your shoulders towards your ears and onto your back. So we're keeping a nice open chest. And from here we're going to fold in, but we're just going to fold at our hips. We're not going to allow our spine to round. Yeah, there you go. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, just folding at the crease of your hips. So you might not be able to come down that far. Keeping the chest nice and open. Hands just to wherever they fall on the legs. Breathing here in this active posture. Take one more nice deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, you can bring your hands to the earth and allow for that spine to round, your head to hang and soften towards the earth. Just noticing the different sensation in this posture just by changing the fold, changing where the fold is focused. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Bring the hands back towards the body, pushing back up to straight. We'll take both feet towards each other, coming into a butterfly. And again, we'll do the exact same thing. So bringing the your shoulders towards your ears, onto the back, keeping that nice long spine with the chest open. We'll take a nice deep inhale, legs. Exhale, fold forward just at the hips. So keeping the spine nice and long. We're not folding forward yet, just hinging forward at the hips just a little. You can use your arms to pull your feet if that feels good for you. And taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now we can fold over. You can bring your hands to the backside of your feet or somewhere else and just allow for your head and heart to come down towards the earth, rounding the spine. And again, feeling the difference in the sensation by changing the focus of the fold, the posture in the spine. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Come back up to straight spine and just cross your legs for a moment. Bringing the hands to your knees or to any other area that feels good for you. You can bring them onto the heart and the belly, whatever feels good in your body. And we're just going to do that scan that we did at the beginning. Dropping into our length and exhale. Or just breathing how it feels good for you, of course, in this moment. We'll take a few rounds of breath, scanning our physical body. Noticing any changes between the beginning of class and at this moment now. Maybe there's something else that would like your attention. Maybe there's something that's thanking you for showing it some love. And take a nice deep breath into the nose. Exhaling fully out through the mouth. Turning back to our breath. And take a scan of our energy body. Allowing anything to be brought forward. Any tiny differences or anything that would like to be heard. Acknowledging the sensations that this practice has changed from the beginning to where we are now, or something else. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth, down through the body, into the earth. Turning back to our breath. We'll allow some space for our emotion. Anything that would like to be brought to surface, acknowledged. Listening without judgment, with wholehearted compassion. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhaling out through the mouth, down through the body, into the earth. Taking any little movements you feel called to do here. Maybe it's some barrel rolls or some cat-cows. Just moving with your body, your breath. And we'll come down onto our back. However you feel called to get down there. Maybe you rock on the spine a couple times, or maybe you just come down and lay there. We'll bring the heels towards our sit bones so that the knees are nice and bent. And we'll take the right knee up towards our chest and give it a little squeeze. We'll come in to thread the needle, so just bring that right foot over top of the left knee. And you can either stay right here and just push on the inside of that right thigh. Doing 3 pushes, so 1 at the base, 1 in the middle of the thigh, and 1 just under the knee. You can just do this and massage your leg here. Or you can come into the full posture by bringing your arms down through that figure 4, lifting the left foot, so that the left knee comes towards the body, and you can hook your hand either behind the thigh or all the way behind the knee, whichever feels good in your body. You can make some circles with that left ankle and going the other direction. And then keeping the toes flexed, so the toes towards the shin, and maybe you rock your legs from left to right. Maybe there's an area that feels a little sticky that you'd like to send a few nice deep breaths to. Maybe you just like to stay in stillness and breathe. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Release the grip on your leg and bring that foot down to the mat. Unhooking your ankle off the knee. And we'll just take a second to bring each foot to the left and right side of the mat, the knees towards one another. And just windshield wiper here, bringing the knees over to the right and over to the left. Doing this 2 more times on each side. And once you have finished the final side, coming back to center, bringing the heels back underneath the sit bones, and we'll take the left knee up towards the chest, giving it a nice little squeeze, and hooking that left ankle over top of the knee. So we're making that figure 4 with our legs. If you'd like to do a couple little massage presses, you can take your left hand and just place it at the top of your thigh, so right close to your pelvis, and push down and bring, loosen the pressure, come midway up the thigh and push again. And then coming just above the knee and pushing that out. If you'd like to continue this motion and just give yourself that nice massage and that little release, you can do that. Or you can bring your hands again through that figure 4, grabbing onto the back of the thigh or the back of the knee, whichever you prefer. And making some circular motions with that right ankle. And going the other direction. And then keeping those toes in flexion towards the shin. You can rock the feet and knees back and forth, finding a spot that feels good. Need some love, and you can just breathe there, sending some breath and kindness to that area. Couple more breaths here. And bringing that foot back down to the mat, we'll take the knees. You can do a couple windshield wipers again, over to the left and over to the right with the feet wide, knees together. If there's any other movement that you would like to do before finding Shavasana or final resting pose, feel free to do what's in your practice that's safe in your body. And then allowing yourself to grab any props, any blankets, any sweaters or socks that you would like to have. And coming into Shavasana, final resting pose. Allowing for the feet to fall to the side. If you have a bolster, maybe putting it under your knees. See if you can get the shoulders onto your back by rocking to one side and just opening them up, pinning them down. And dropping into the sensation of your breath. The rise and fall of your chest. Knowing that throughout Shavasana or any meditation, our minds don't truly ever shut off. Coming back to your breath as you acknowledge or after you acknowledge a thought process. Returning back to the breath again and again. And if you fall asleep, know that you may need that rest. But trying to take this time to Stay with your breath, acknowledging your thoughts and coming back to your breathing with no restriction of your breath and just the sensation in your body. Slowly start to bring your focus back onto my voice. Rise and fall of your chest. Wiggle your toes. your fingers, making some circular motions with your wrists and your ankles. Taking your hands over your head, taking a nice big morning stretch. Rolling onto one side in a fetal-like position. I welcome you to take 3 clearing breaths here, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Pushing your way up to seated. And bringing your hands to heart center when you're ready. Take a second to bow your head. The light in me sees and recognizes the light in you. Hope you have a wonderful day, and namaste.